Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world that we're living in. So today we're here to talk about, in this video, we're here to talk about this beautiful soul, Nicola Bulley. You know, we all were invested in this case when Nicola took her children to school, took her dog for a walk along the banks of the River Wyre, disappeared into thin air, and then was found 3 weeks later, unfortunately deceased in the river. But what long 3 weeks or 21 days that was. Now, as you know, I'm doing a docu-series about this case. I've paused it because I want to see what comes up. The reason what we're going to talk about today in this video is the documentary that's going to be released on this Thursday, the 3rd of October, on BBC, and it supposedly will be about the family talking about what happened to Nicola, or not necessarily what happened to Nicola, but the social media storm that they found themselves in, because Nicola's case touched people all over the world. And of course, that's got its good things and its bad things. And we're going to talk about both of those. We're going to have a look at what the BBC has released, a little sort of taster, if you like, of the video, which already is so interesting to see people talking in a more of a normal way than how it was at the time. This is a case that has bred a million conspiracy theories, some of which you can understand, or I can understand. I can only speak for me. You've all got your opinions. You'll say, please feel free to say whatever you like, as long as it's respectful. You know, express your theories. That's, you know, I'm not here to tell you what, I'm not the thought police, but I am here to tell you, don't be disrespectful to anybody, including me. Otherwise, it's adios amigo. Nicola Bulley, this is a case where I always get the most trolls whenever I do a video about Nicola Bulley. So I know I'm going to get some horrible things said, etc. But you know what? It's just water off a duck's back to me. I really don't care what people that I don't care about think about me. But the thing is, one thing that is true, we all cared about what happened to Nicola. We were all concerned. It didn't feel right. There's so many things in this case that don't feel right. But anyway, apparently in this documentary, we're going to hear the family speaking about how it felt to be in the center of a social media storm. So, with no more ado, I'm going to put on my intro video and then let's chat. Okay, so with no more ado, let's get on with it. But I just want to say thank you, first of all. Thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you to all of you that like my videos. Don't forget to leave your fingerprint on the like button. That's very important. And also thank you to everybody who's a member, especially members of my channel. Thank you for supporting Vicky Marie Chats. Thank you to everybody who sent me bought me a Ko-fi, or sent me a super, or PayPal me, or emailed me. Thank you so much. I appreciate all your support. Now, this case, of course, let me take that banner off now. This case of Nicola Bulley attracts as much, if not more, attention than most cases that I cover. Everybody, or most people, have an opinion one way or another. Could be the opinion that, yeah, it was an accident, exactly what the inquest found. Why is anybody thinking any different? You know, we've had the College of Policing report, we've had the inquest, we've had Peter Folding's revelation. I doubt if we'll see Peter Folding in this documentary on Wednesday, or Mark Williams Thomas. You know, there's been so much speculation, so much disrespect from not only social media but mainstream media. You know, social media, you know, YouTubers saying anything, you know, saying all sorts of things. What they're going to make of this documentary. The thing is, we've all got our views on this, and I think at the time when it was all going on, we were like in this sort of collective madness. That's how it feels to me. I mean, I hold my hands up and say, I too, you know, it was like, well, what's going on? We all felt like there's something wrong, but we didn't know what it was. My issue with the Nicola Bulley case is there's no evidence to say it was accidental death. There's no evidence of anything. There's no evidence of self-deletion. There's no evidence of foul play. Everywhere you turn, there's no evidence of any of it. And there were fundamental mistakes made by the police. Some people think it was a cover-up by the police. I personally don't agree with that at all, but some people think that. I'm not surprised that they think that, because it was so mysterious the way it all happened. You know, wherever there's a void of information, conspiracy theories, if you like, will always follow, because if you don't tell people what's going on, they'll sort of just make it up, really, or even if not exactly make it up, but they'll make their own. They'll come to their own conclusions. If they don't get proper answers, they'll come to their own conclusions, and that's just human nature. So social media did flare up, it did go mad, but also mainstream media. They can't blame it all on social media. You know, social media is fanned by mainstream media, and mainstream media can complain about social media all it likes, but they're the ones that were saying all these things. They're the ones that were, you know, going for walks by the river and doing this and doing that, and social media feeds off that. So mainstream media has got as much, if not more, to blame for some of the more outlandish theories that came out. So the BBC are doing this documentary, and they've issued like a taster, if you like. So it's it's so interesting. I want to thank everybody who sent me this by email. I did already know about it, but so many people. It's lovely that so many of my chatters sent me this. Just shows how people are still invested in this case, that so many of my subscribers felt like they wanted to let me know about this just in case I didn't know. And of course, I've not been doing lives for a couple of days. It's only been 2 days that I haven't done any live streams, because I was concentrating on the video of Nicola Payne and her disappearance, another woman who needs. The thing is, all these women who disappeared or died mysteriously, they all deserve attention, and there's only so much time in a day that I can devote to things. And I've been with Nicola Payne the last couple of days. I have finished that video now. I'm really pleased with it. I hope you enjoy it. I'll probably do a premiere with it later, so you can chat about it. But the video's done. That's another case that's, you know, so many different rabbit holes, so many different theories, so many different possibilities, that at the end of it, your head will hurt and you'll have to go and lie down in a dark room, a bit like the Nicola Bulley case. So that's what I've been concentrating on. That's why I've not done a live since Wednesday. But it's only 2 days, so it hasn't been that long. But I want to say thank you to all of you that emailed me to say, are you okay? And when are you coming back? And I know you miss it when I do my lives, you know, and it's funny. It's lovely to hear that you do miss me when I'm not on. But every now and again, I just have to have a couple of days to recoup my thoughts. Also on Wednesday, was it Wednesday evening or Tuesday evening, I had some terrible nightmares. Sometimes, dealing with true crime, as much as I find it interesting, I do it because I like it, because I enjoy making the videos. I don't do it, it's not a job in that sense. It's not a torture or anything. But sometimes, I think because I've been covering a lot, haven't I, Madeline Soto, sometimes it does get to you, and I had some terrible nightmares the other night, and those really vivid nightmares when you wake up and it's like you can't shake it. It feels like it's real. So I feel better now that I've had a couple of days, even though I've been with Nicola Payne. When I say I've been with her, I always say, when I've been researching, so I always say, I've been with such and such. It's because I've been researching them, doing a lot with them now. I've been with Nicola Payne now for 2 days, bless her. And now I feel happy that I finished the video, and I'll be probably premiering that video probably later today. And then, of course, at the same time, all this was happening, this taster coming out about Nicola Bulley, etc. So, I do feel a responsibility to my chatters, people. I know you can read it yourself. You've probably seen it on other channels or whatever. But the thing is, I know that my chatters, they like to come on, talk to me about it, or talk between each other about it with like-minded people, or they like to hear my thoughts on it, for what they're worth. So here I am doing this video. So I'm going to just say hello to everybody first who's here. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all looking forward to the weekend. It's Friday. Have you got that Friday feeling? Of course, it was a Friday, wasn't it? When poor Nicola, a Friday when she dropped off her kids at school, like any other Friday. Dropped the kids off, took Willow for a walk along the river, sent an email, made a few texts, etc., not realizing that would be her last Friday. And of course, our sympathies do go out to her family, but especially to those 2 girls who've lost their mum. That's the most important thing. And although Nicola's death has been declared accidental death, even the coroner himself, even Mr. Adley himself, let's just have a quick look at him. I think I've got a picture of him somewhere. Even the coroner himself, Mr. James Adley, said he will probably never know how Nicola ended up in the river. And that's why, for me, it should always have been an open verdict, because I'm still not sure that Nicola wasn't pushed into the river. That's not casting aspersions on Paul or anyone in particular. That's just saying, how did she end up in that river? Anyway, so as I say, I'm just going to say hello to everybody now. And of course, a lot of us met through, that's how you came. A lot of you, that's how you came to my channel. There'll be some of you, obviously I've got a lot more subscribers now, so some of you out there wouldn't have come to my channel through the Nicola Bulley case. And maybe some of you out there don't know much about it. People come to me through all different cases. It might be from the Samantha Murphy case, or from Jay Slater, or from anything. They'll have been clicking through YouTube one day, my video will have come up, they've had a look at it, whatever the subject was, and then decided to subscribe. So not everybody on my channel came here through Nicola Bulley, but of course a lot of you did. So hi Laurie, hi Mello, hi David. Oh, yeah. Hi Mia. Hi JBT. Hi Mark. Yeah, I think the main thing that people worry about is the 3 weeks that it took to find Nicola. And even then, she was never found. She was never found, was she? She came, floating down the river, apparently, for a medium to find her, for Jason to find her, Jason Rothwell. So the police never found her. And those first few days where the police, really did search, not only the police, the fire brigade, etc. Oh, you name it, they search for her. I don't think that's going to be addressed in this. I think this documentary is literally just about how horrible the social media are. I don't think it's anything to do with why wasn't she found in 3 days, 3 weeks, you know, all those kind of things. I don't think it's anything. It'll be anything to do with that, but it'll still be interesting. And as I say, I'm just pausing my series that I've been making, so I just want to see what comes out. Hi, Maria. We can't all be wrong. Yeah. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Fortean. So let's have a look. What this? Let's have a look at the taster, if you like. I mean, it's so. Hi, Kelly. It is so very. Oh, what happened there? Why have I got? What happened there? Oh, I think I've got my video on in the background. Hang on. Right, sorry. Oh, I'm sharing the wrong thing. That's why. That's why. So yeah, I do think, although you know, a lot of people will say, "Oh, this video, this documentary won't tell us anything new." Probably won't, but it will give us, you know, an insight in the sense of actually hearing the family speak properly, normally. Because really, as well, as far as Nicola's parents were concerned, Dot and Ernie, we only heard them speak once, didn't they, along with her sister. As far as Paul was concerned, Paul Ansell, her partner and the father of her children, he spoke, of course, that was a lot of criticism of him. He didn't speak. It was about nearly a week, was it? Or a few days before he even came out and said anything. I haven't got as far as him yet in my docuseries. I will be doing an episode just about Paul. Not to knock, but, you know, I'm not trying to say anything, oh, Paul this or Paul that. I don't know. I'm just presenting what we know. And then, you know, I have no clue what happened to Nicola. But I don't think anybody has. I don't think I'm any different to anybody else. So I'm not here to sort of knock Paul or knock anybody else. I'm just here to tell you what happened, the interview he did, play the interviews that he's done, and then, you know, take it from there. It's not a question. It's not like a trial or anything. But the interesting thing is this taster that we've been given, you do see Paul speaking. You also hear Paul's 911 call. Now, I wrote under the Freedom of Information Act for Paul's 911 call and was refused it. So how come suddenly it's okay to be out there? You know, I don't understand the way that British Freedom of Information laws work. It was a 999 call. There's nothing. Why is it being withheld? You know, if there's been an inquest and Nicola's been found to have died an accidental death, why is the 999 call being withheld? Except for now when some of it is being released. I don't understand that. These are the things that cause controversy, if you like, or cause people to question. If there's nothing to hide, why was the 999 call? Why has it not been released before? Now suddenly a BBC documentary can have it, but somebody requests it under the Freedom of Information Act. No. Privacy laws. No, you can't have it. So it's either freedom of information or it's not. So this is just one of the many reasons why people are suspicious. You want to make someone suspicious? Keep things secret. You want to stop people being suspicious? Make it transparent. If you make things secretive, people will be suspicious. I don't think that's rocket science, is it? You know, it's just like how it is. Okay, so they've released this sort of taster. Online obsession with Nicola Bulley became a monster, the family tells the BBC. Now, the other reason that I'm very cautious about this is, of course, you know, both Paul Emma, all the people that were involved used social media when it suited them. You know, remember that Paul sent off the CCTV, or Paul's friend sent off the CCTV, the door cam footage or whatever it was, to Grizzly True Crime, which is a true crime channel, a YouTube channel. Why did he do that? You know, why? You know, if you don't, you either get involved with social media or you don't. You're going to hear Paul here, and no, you know, I'm not. There's lots of people go on Instagram and follow attractive women, but you know, we're talking about a man who uses social media a lot. So, you know, you either use it or you don't. You find it useful or you don't. You know, go on it or don't. You know, you cannot with social media. Same with me, with YouTube. I can't go on YouTube. And then some people will always say horrible things about me if I go on YouTube. Of course they will. I can't stop that. You know, there's hundreds, thousands of people out there watching your videos and not all going to like them. Just like not, you know, we've seen it with the Jay Slater case. I mean, they didn't get anything like the horrible things said about them that Jay Slater's mum and their family got said about them. Not only, you know, Jen Soto in America, Sebastian Rogers. That's what's, if you want to use social media, you know, you've got to take the good with the bad. Unfortunately, that's just the way of the world now. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, I'm just so glad there was no social media when I was young. But anyway, there wasn't, thank God. But now, you know, I think youngsters, they are a bit more savvy of that. You know, you've got to make your mind up. Do you use social media or don't you? It can be a help, it can be a hindrance, it can be nice, it can be horrible. You know, that is just the way it is. No point bleating on about it. No point in complaining about it. If you're complaining about it, just take yourself off it. Anyway, so online obsession with Nicola Bulley became a monster, the family tells the BBC. So here's Paul, he's looking well. Doesn't seem to be quite as Botoxed as he was before. He's got a lot more hair than he had before. And I hope he is okay. You know, if Paul has really got a clear conscience and he hasn't done anything wrong, I hope he is okay. I hope he is coping with everything. But let's see what he's got to say, and you'll tell me what you think about it.
The nights were the hardest. The end of the day where it goes dark. Because in the morning, the hope would be strong. And then it used to go dark at like 4. It get to about 3 o'clock and I used to start panicking that I knew that it'd start going dark in an hour. So we had an hour to try and find her. And then obviously I then have the girls. You know, the first thing that they do when they come out of school was run over and say, "Have we found Mummy?"
Hello, good afternoon. I hope everybody's having a lovely Saturday. I just wanted to pop on and do a little video. So if I turn the video around now so I can show you.
Social media. Nikki used it more than I did because she used to sell stuff, so she would do live videos.
So you've got your top player and then you have all these gorgeous products.
It wasn't a huge part of our lives, but yeah, when you experience something like this, you realise what a huge monster it can be, I guess. I was getting direct messages from people that I've never met. They don't know me, they don't know us, they don't know Nikki, they know nothing about us. Just messages like, "You bastard, we know what you did, you know, you can't hide Paul," that kind of stuff. There was some that I felt like replying to, but then if you reply to that, they'll just screenshot your reply, that'll end up on social media, and so you're literally silenced.
So I think it's terrible if people were really sending him direct messages, and, you know, because at the end of the day, there was no evidence. It always comes down to that, isn't it? Evidence. You know, everybody felt suspicious of Paul, and I include myself in that. I'm still not 100% certain. I just cannot decide because, well, first of all, because, you know, 9 times out of 10, it is the partner that has something to do with strange things that happen to people. But also there was something about his demeanour. It may just be the way he is, because of course he did, when he appeared on the banks of the river that first day for his interview, and he smiled, you know, and sort of like, oh, well, we can't do anything else, can we? Ha ha. You know, that put people's backs up, didn't it? And then, of course, he did the, he sent like a WhatsApp voice note. There's quite a few things, and when I go through in the docu-series talking about Paul, I am going to bring all those up, and we have to think about them. Is it just his manner? Then he did the interview with Dan Walker, and obviously people examine that with sort of, you know, all these body language experts saying, you know, this, that, and the other. Nobody's a body language expert, even the ones that say they are, because it's not a science, is it? So, you know, he, I suppose, putting himself out there, in a way, he couldn't win, could he? Because if he wouldn't have put himself out there and been interviewed, people would have said, oh, why is he so quiet? And then he put himself out there to be interviewed, and then everyone's examining his every word. You know, and I understand that. It's so difficult with Paul, I think, so difficult. Because I don't know their circumstances. You know, there was lots of insinuations that there'd been domestic abuse. Now, you can bet 100% that this documentary on Wednesday will not mention the fact that Nicola banged her head and had to go and have a head scan the day after the welfare check. You know, all that is probably not going to be addressed. Maybe it will be, I don't know. But, you know, this was the other thing that made people suspicious. So the day after a welfare check, when Nicola seemed confused and didn't know where she was, I don't know how this happened, you know, and what we've been reading lately about people drugging people, etc. You know, nothing would surprise me anymore. And then the very next night, she's got to go to A&E because she's banged her head and have a head scan, etc. So all these, you know, the thing with the Nicola Bulley case is, it's not just one thing that made people be suspicious. It's a pile up of things. It's an accumulation of many, many different things. And Paul might say he's not on social media much, but he is, of course. You know, he follows a lot of very young girls on Instagram, you know, sort of accounts, you know, which really, I know it's natural for men to like to look at attractive young women, but they're sort of borderline paedophilia, some of them, to be honest. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest, because for a man of Paul's age, you know, he's really sort of, it's not, doesn't, you know, feel right. But there you go, you know, there's probably loads of men out there who do the same thing. So these are all the things that made us suspicious of Paul.
And you can't do anything about it.
As far as Nikki going missing and the mystery to it, I guess, it was just an accident. It doesn't always have to be something sinister linked to something that happens. Sometimes bad things just happen. Just wish it hadn't happened to us. We're just a normal family. Just had a really tough time.
Now let's watch that again. Now that, of course, that was her sister, Louise. Is that spelled? Was that didn't look like Ed to me. That's not Ed. Let's have a look. Her husband.
The nights were the hardest. The end of the day where it goes dark. Because in the morning, the hope would be strong. And then it used to go dark at like 4. It'd get to about 3 o'clock, and I used to start panicking that I knew that it'd start going dark in an hour. So we had an hour to try and find her. And then obviously I'd have the girls. You know, the first thing that they do when they come out of school was run over and say, have we found Mummy?
Hello, good afternoon. I hope everybody's having a lovely Saturday. I just wanted to pop on and do a little video. So if I turn the video around now so I can show you.
Social media. Nikki used it more than I did because she used to sell stuff, so she would do live videos.
So you've got your top layer, and then you have all these gorgeous products
It wasn't a huge part of our lives, but yeah, when you experience something like this, you realise what a huge monster it.
Now, I just don't believe that it wasn't a big part of their lives, because Nikki was on social media a lot, you know, just because of her job. Not only that job, but her mortgage, you know, a job selling mortgages and things. I think it probably was quite a big part of their lives, but yeah, I still can't make my mind up about Paul. But you know what? He's coming on. He's doing this documentary. I don't feel bad about discussing him. If you know, he's made the choice to come out doing the documentary. He knows he's going to get discussed. He's going to get discussed. The whole family's going to get discussed. And they've made the choice and come on to do this documentary. So, you know, we're discussing them. I mean, the thing is, it's sort of like, it's bad in one way, but the reason that we're discussing it is the one thing that everyone's got in common, you know, be they like in my you know, take the same view as me or not of me, or hate me or not hate me, or hate Paul or not hate Paul. Everybody cares about Nikki. So I wonder how that would feel, you know, for a member of your family to go. There'll be people out there whose members of their family have gone missing, and nobody gives a shit. It's not on the news. Nobody's making videos about it. Nobody cares, you know. So everybody cared about Nicola. That's got to be a good thing, really, hasn't it? Hasn't that got to know that the whole world, you know, cared about your loved one? That's got to mean something, surely. That has got to be positive in my eyes.
It can be, I guess. I was getting direct messages from people that I've never met. They don't know me, they don't know us, they don't know Nikki, they know nothing about us. Just messages like, you bastard, we know what you did, you know, you can't hide Paul, that kind of stuff. There was some that I felt like replying to, but then if you reply to that, they'll just screenshot your reply. That'll end up on social media. And so, and you can't do anything about it.
As far as Nikki going missing and the mystery to it, I guess, it was just an accident. It doesn't always have to be something sinister linked to something that happens. Sometimes bad things just happen. Just wish it hadn't happened to us. We're just a normal family. It's had a really tough time.
Now, am I imagining it? Is that supposed to be Ed? That's not
It's
Ed.
had a really tough
Is
time.
that Ed?
We're just a normal family. It's had a really.
Is that Ed? Maybe I'm just not seeing it. But anyway, when we come to watch the documentary, I'll have a look at the photo. I've got loads of photos of Ed, and that doesn't look like him at all. I'm not really sure who that is. Anyway, of course, no, Eddie's not Louise's husband. No, that's right. I've not seen Louise's husband before. Oh, that's why I was looking at him. I was thinking, oh my God, that's not Ed, is it? So, of course, yeah, Emma and Ed. Now, will we see Emma? Will we see any of Nicola's friends speaking on this documentary, or will it just be the family? I mean, Louise looks genuinely upset there, doesn't she? I'm sure she was. You know, I want to show you. So, of course, Nicola's parents are going to. So, remember Dot and Ernie? This was the interview that they did at the time. They did that interview at Emma's house with Louise, and Ernie got really upset, didn't he? Dot looked as if she wanted to say something, but she didn't. You know, she just didn't say much, did she? So they're definitely going to be on this documentary, because this is Dot and Ernie. They're going to be interviewed. What will they have to say? What do they think of it all? I wonder. You know, is it going to tell us anything we don't know? Maybe not. As Paul and Nikki. Anyway, let me read to you what the article says. So that's the taster that we've got, the actual, what's the word? the actual little bit of video that we've got. And let's go down a little bit from there. So Nicola Bulley's partner has described a social media fixation, an online obsession with her disappearance, as a monster that got out of control. I mean, I do think that sort of thing can happen. It does feel like almost like a collective madness. It's like you're always looking for the next, everyone wanted to solve it. Why is that? Because there's lots of cases happen and people don't feel the urge to solve it or to be the one, who solves it. They just watch it going on. But with Nicola, people got invested in Nicola, men, women, older people, younger people. So it doesn't happen with every case, even cases that receive a lot of publicity and people are interested with. It's not often that they go completely so out of control like Nicola's did. So I wonder what that is. I used to call it the Nicola effect. Why is it that people got so maybe it's because it always felt wrong from the beginning. To me, from the very minute that I first heard about this case, not from when they said she'd gone missing, because I just thought, oh God, that poor woman, something's happened to her. But from when they said she'd gone in the river. I remember it as clear as anything when Sally Riley came on and said, oh, well, we think she's gone in the river. And I was like, what? It just didn't feel right from the beginning. For me, it was somebody had abducted her and they would probably find her in the woods, unfortunately deceased, or, I felt from the word go that something had happened to this woman. And then, of course, everything after that was just like an acceleration. Maybe that's why people do, somebody said earlier, and we can't all be wrong. Everyone thinks there's something wrong about this case. Maybe people have got different ideas about what is wrong with it or what the reason is, but everyone feels the same. So everyone can't be wrong because we don't get that about every case, do we? We do not get that feeling. If we look at Samantha Murphy over in Australia, we felt that something was wrong. Something was wrong. Yeah, she'd been murdered. Now with Jay Slater, that's another one. People feel, or a lot of people feel there's something wrong. I think, the main thing is that nobody really understands why he went to the Airbnb in the first place. And maybe there is something wrong there. But anyway, that's not finished, that case yet. So speaking publicly for the first time since Nicola's body was found, because it all went quiet, didn't it, after that? So there'd been a lot of social media attention. Emma had done lots of interviews. Paul had done 3 or 4 interviews, including the voice note that he did. But then once Nicola's body was found, it was like stum, silence. The next thing that Paul was heard of was at the inquest. So Paul Ansell tells the BBC the family felt the initial wave of interest in the case was a positive thing. They hoped it would keep the pressure on Lancashire police to keep searching for her, he says. But that was quickly overtaken by a wave of amateur social media sleuths posting hurtful and wildly misleading claims about the case, with the family receiving online hate. Online hate to the family is never a good thing. I think anything like that is a double-edged sword, he says. That's the problem. You're poking a monster. Well, you poked it, Paul, to be honest. The Lancashire mother of 2 disappeared on the 27th of January while walking her dog in St. Michael's-on-Wyre shortly after dropping her daughters off at school. So this was 2023. So not this January just gone, the January before. And I think the other thing that got everyone's attention was it was someone doing an ordinary daily thing, dropping her daughters off at school, taking her dog for a walk along the river, and then disappearing into thin air. So anything like that is always, because people do that day in, day out. So, that's always going to cause interest. So her body was found in a river on the 19th of February, and an inquest in June last year found she had died due to accidental drowning. That's a bit of a moot point, isn't it? So this documentary that's coming out this week, and I'm going to try my very best to record it so we can watch it together, called The Search for Nicola Bulley, explores the media coverage and the impact of amateur internet sleuths conducting their own investigations, as well as hearing from Lancashire Police and Nicola's family. So the Friday morning of her disappearance, according to Paul, was normal. He says Nicola left at 8:30 to take their 2 children to school with the family's dog Willow. When she didn't return at the usual time, Paul says he wasn't overly worried, but by 10:30, the children's school rang. Wasn't the school, was it? Was it the school? I thought it was. Anyway, never mind. Children's school rang to say somebody had found their dog and Nicola's phone by a bench. I mean, that's not a normal phone call to get, he tells the documentary. She would never have left Willow. He says he immediately knew something isn't right here and recalls feeling like he was having a panic attack. It's where you feel like your legs have gone. I mean, that, we all know that feeling, don't we? In a situation like that, your mind is going absolutely crazy. And I rang the police as I was driving, and we're going to hear the 911 call in a minute, or part of it. That Friday, I was just sat at my desk and I got a phone call from Paul Louise Cunningham, Nicola's sister, tells the documentary. And he was panicking, frantic. And he was like, something's happened, something strange has happened. So this was the Ring doorbell. Now, there's been a lot of talk. I never saw anything wrong in the web in this, to be honest. I think, I just don't see anything wrong in it, but I don't know anything about, CCTV and that. But I think it was, people made a big thing out of it, and I don't think there was anything to make out of it. But I do not understand why we've never seen the whole video, So Nicola's there at the car. Then later they showed a bit where Paul was there as well, and the kids were there, and the dog was there. Why not just show the whole thing from that morning when Nicola came out, got the car, and then drove off as well. We never saw her driving off, Paul going back into the house. Those are my queries about the CCTV. Why have we not seen the full CCTV? It's not that I think it's a fake CCTV. I just don't understand why we just haven't seen the whole thing. Anyway, I'm going to play this now. So we're going to listen now to Paul's 911. Sorry, I've done too many American videos. Paul's 999 call.
It's emergency.
Oh, hello. My partner left this morning at 8:30 to take my 2 children to school, and the dog went with her because we take the dog for a walk.
Okay.
I was getting concerned because she hadn't returned.
Now that was a big jump, wasn't it? Because it went from Nicola putting the dog in the car. Let's just watch that again. Nicola putting the dog in the car. We didn't see the kids coming out on this. And then suddenly Paul, look, from there, where was Paul? Is he already there? Is that him behind there? To me, the only thing I would say is I did feel like Nicola looked like she was in a mood a bit, but maybe she was just rushing.
Take my 2 children to school, and the dog went with her
Oh,
because we take the dog for a walk.
Okay.
I was getting concerned because she hadn't returned home by 9:30. She's usually back by 9:30, so I thought she must have got chatting to somebody. I've been trying to ring her since about 10:30. No reply. And then the school's just rung me to say that they've just found the dog. Somebody's found the dog, and my partner's put her phone down on a bench and the dog lead, and she's nowhere to be seen.
So, any ideas why we wouldn't just see the whole CCTV? And any ideas why, when I tried to get the, why was that not released under Freedom of Information Act before, and now they're releasing it? Maybe he's given his permission now, I don't know. But, these sort of calls, they are supposed to be available, Freedom of Information Act. But anyway. So I've just got to keep an eye on my phone. That I'll tell you why later at the end.
It's emergency.
Oh, hello. My partner left this morning at 8:30 to take my 2 children to school, and the dog went with her because we take the dogs for a walk.
Right.
I was getting concerned because she hadn't returned home by 9:30. She's usually back by 9:30, so I thought she must have got chatting to somebody. I've been trying to ring her since about 10:30. No reply. And then the school's just rung me to say that they've just found the dog. Somebody's found the dog, and my partner's put her phone down on a bench and the dog lead, and she's nowhere to be seen.
So, what do we make of that? Let's come back to chat and see what you've got to say about it. Oh my God, there's a lot of chat messages in there. Hi, Stone. Sorry, I haven't had time to say hello to everyone. Sorry about that. Hi, Heather. See, he must have been interviewed, mustn't he? Must have been. The police must have. Yeah, it's Louisa. Hi, Nick. Yeah, it's Louise's husband. Yeah, I've just clicked. I don't know why. I get Louise and Emma mixed up sometimes in my head. I can't decide. Yeah, I can't decide what I think about the way he's reading. Saying that. Now, when he left the voice note to Sky News, that was like he was reading something out as well. But, you know, maybe Paul, he's just got this flat tone, hasn't he? Maybe it's just his way. The thing is, you know, Paul's got his way, like we've all got our way of speaking. And just sometimes our affect, you know, if it's not like, if somebody else's affect is not like ours, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're lying or whatever. I mean, Paul must have been interviewed by the police, mustn't he? He would have been the first person to have been interviewed by the police, surely. Surely the house would have been searched. Surely it would have been tested, you know, because, well, you hope that anyway. But the problem is, of course, with Nicola's case. So some of you that are coming to this case for the first time, you need to have a look at the at my playlist, because in the initial, as soon as Paul, now they've cut off that. Oh, they've cut off that 911 call, because I think he went on to say, didn't he, you know, about her issues. So straight away, Paul said she's been struggling lately because she'd been having problems apparently with the menopause. She was drinking too much, according to Paul, according to the family or whatever. And maybe she was. I'm not saying she wasn't. But I believe that Paul was quite quick to say that. So right from the beginning, the police treated it, I think they treated it that as if they thought she had jumped in the river. Personally, they immediately thought she'd gone in the river before they even had phone data or anything more, or any other investigations. They treated it as an accident or a self-deletion. And I don't think it was ever because, of course, they didn't cordon off the area. They never treated it like a suspicious case, ever, in the beginning. So before they decided that possibly it might be a suspicious case, it was too late, wasn't it? Let's just listen to that one more time.
It's emergency.
Oh, hello. My partner left this morning at 8:30 to take my 2 children to school, and the dog went with her because we take the dogs for a walk.
Right.
I was getting concerned because she hadn't returned home by 9:30. She's usually back by 9:30, so I thought she must have got chatting to somebody. I've been trying to ring her since about 10:30. No reply. And then the school's just rung me to say that they've just found the dog. Somebody's found the dog, and my partner's put her phone down on a bench and the dog lead, and she's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. So they're not issuing the whole 999 call, are they? You know, and as soon as they do that, you'd think it was almost deliberate. Maybe it is deliberate, because as soon as they start just releasing little bits of something, people start thinking, well, why don't they release the rest of it? You know, what could it possibly Nicola is dead. The inquest has happened. what problem could it possibly cause now for Nicola's privacy? Why are they not just issuing the whole 999 call? What are they trying to hide? That's what people will be thinking. I'm thinking that. I'm thinking, why not the whole 999 call? Just like I think, why not the whole CCTV? Why not see? We never see Nicola driving off that drive. Why? You know, she got in the car and that was it. You know, did she even drive off? Did Paul go back in the house? We don't know because we didn't see it. Now, maybe the police are happy that that's happened, but they must realize that people are going to think, why are we not just getting the whole picture? That's the whole thing about this case. Everything's half a story, half a picture, and then they wonder why people are not sure, you know, that people are questioning things. So the documentary, here's the turmoil the family went through as the search for Nicola intensified, as well as the impact it had on Nicola and Paul's young children. The nights were the hardest, Paul remembers, of the search. In the morning, the hope would be strong, and it would be going dark at 4 p.m. It would get to 3 p.m. and I'd start panicking that I knew it would start going dark in an hour. So we had an hour to find her. Did Paul go looking for her? I thought he didn't, to be honest. It used to get to about 3 p.m. and then I'd start panicking that I knew it would start going dark in an hour. So we had an hour to find her. Then obviously I'd have the girls. The first they'd do when they came out of school was run over and say, have we found Mummy? I mean, that is pretty heartbreaking, isn't it? One morning, I got up, Nicola's mother, Dorothy tells the programme. The youngest one says, cold, isn't it, Nanny? I hope Mummy's not cold and hungry. As the search for Nicola continued, so-called amateur detectives began travelling to Lancashire to see what they could find. As their fascination with the case spiralled, police became increasingly concerned they might interfere with the investigation, and the amount of online hate focused on the family began to get worse. I was getting direct messages from people that I've never met. They don't know me, they don't know us, they don't know Nicky, Paul says. He was told, you can't hide, we know what you did. And unable to reply, he says he felt silenced. On top of the trauma of the nightmare that we're in, to then think that all these horrendous things are being said about me towards Nicky, everybody has a limit. And at a news conference days before she was found, Lancashire police told the public Nicola had significant issues with alcohol brought on by her ongoing struggles with the menopause. It's not uncommon to go through it young, Louise tells the documentary. And that's true. People can go through the menopause, you know, from very, very young. I mean, there is no, you know, there's no, what's the word? You know, everybody's different with the menopause. Some people go through it really young. Some people go to their late 50s before they go through it. Everybody's different. Some people sail through it. Some people have a terrible time. You know, I think I did some videos about the menopause at the time. I was livid that they blamed things on the menopause as if, because at the time the menopause was a big talking point. A lot of people were talking about it on the TV and everything. And you know, at the end of the day, the menopause is a natural thing. And some people do go through hell. I know that they do. I was lucky I didn't. But some people do go through hell. But you've got to be careful of not letting things control you. Because I always think with women, people are quick to blame things on, oh, it's the menopause. Oh, I don't mean the women themselves, other people saying to them, oh, she must be on her monthlies. Or, you know, you've got to be careful of not blaming everything on one thing. You know, people go through the menopause, but every time you get angry about something, it's not because of the menopause. Maybe you're getting angry because somebody's been an absolute twonk, or done something really terrible. But it's easy for people to say, oh, well, it's because she's going through the menopause. So I'm always very careful about things like that. And I was so angry that they would blame what happened to Nicola on the menopause, because there's so much more to it with Nicola, with the welfare check and a bang on the head and all those kind of things. And at the end of the day, she was holding down her job. She was happy about the future. You know, there were lots of positive things going on in Nicola's life. So, yeah, I'm not happy about them blaming things on the menopause. But I know that I don't want to take that away from people that I know do suffer with the menopause. But you've got to be careful because, you know, to me, I'd just rather not even talk about it, because you're going through it. I say it's a natural part of life. It's like, you know, as a woman, when you start off as a woman, you start your cycle or whatever, and then when it finishes, it's part of life. Nobody gets away with it. You know, nobody avoids it. You just have to get on with it. You know, sometimes in life you can dwell on things too much. You know, I sound awful, and I'm not trying to be unsympathetic, but you know what? I don't think it does anyone any favors to dwell on things too much when you just have to get on with it. What do people do, you know, in Africa or whatever, that can't, you know, go for counselling or go on HRT or whatever? You know, what do? To get on with it. They have no choice. Okay, so Paul describes how Nicola developed trouble sleeping, lack of sleep, irritability, brain fog. Maybe she was just annoyed with him. You know, this is what winds me up, because you see how everything's getting blamed on the menopause. Oh yeah, she was irritable, she had brain fog, she was drinking too much. And Nicola is not here to defend herself and say, well, no, actually, it's because you're a pain in the arse. You know, which I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying that could have been the reason why she was irritable. So, but no, it's her fault because she's going through the menopause. It does make me mad that. She'd be awake for hours in the night, hot sweats every single day. Everything was becoming difficult. For who? So as I'm reading this now, I'm getting really arsey about it. The family says Nicola stopped taking her HRT over that period and began drinking to deal with it. Maybe that's what I did. I don't know. I've never taken HRT, never taken any of those things. I don't think they do you any favours, to be honest. But then I have had, to be fair, I've had messages from people who've said that HRT saved them. So we're all different. We're all individual. We all have our ways of dealing with things. So I'm not criticising anyone for being on HRT or not being on HRT. I'm just saying it's easy for Paul to say, you know, everything was becoming difficult. Maybe she was just getting fed up with him. I don't know. So it was literally normal, weird blip. That's the most honest answer I can give you, Louise says. Well, it's more than a blip when you have to phone the welfare. You know, when you have to phone the ambulance, you know, to get a section. That's more than a blip, isn't it? You know, and of course it was Louise who phoned the ambulance, and when the people all went out for the welfare check, which of course they forgot to turn on the webcam or whatever, the body cam. So we don't even know about that. We don't know what happened because there was no webcam and no body cam. It forgot to turn it on. So police officers investigating Nicola's disappearance say they felt they had to release her personal information about her struggle with the menopause and drinking because of the commentary that was coming up on social media. And of course, the rumour is this was Mark Williams-Thomas who had found out about Nicola's problems, and he was, you know, making a fuss about it. We'd be interested to see if him or Peter Folding turn up on this documentary on Thursday, because of course now this Nicola Ray video that I've just made. We'll be talking about Mark Williams-Thomas and Peter Folding. I'll be playing you some of Mark Williams-Thomas's podcast because they were involved in the Nicola Ray not Nicola Ray, Nicola Payne case. But I wonder what will happen now. I feel like they've been sort of released by the police now. Police have had enough of him, but we'll see. Oh, well, Peter Folding is definitely making a new true crime documentary because he put it on his, let's have a look. I've got it somewhere. On his Twitter, Peter Folding put a picture of himself. He's going to be, let's see if I can get the picture up. He's definitely going to be doing another true crime documentary. So although he's blocked me on Twitter, he thinks that I can't get to see his Twitter. Well, of course I can. And he's just recently put a post on Twitter. Oh, I don't know what I've done yet. Oh, there he is. Actually, what I'll do is I'll load it up on here. Sorry, bear with me. So we are going to be seeing Peter Folding again soon. Great, isn't it? Hi, Crime Audit. Let's see. Now, I know, you know, as far as Peter's concerned, we've all got different views. Some of you think Peter Folding is a great guy. Personally, I don't agree. But having said that, you'll see in the Nicola Payne video, I've got no, you know, if he manages to help families find bodies or do whatever, well, good. I'm glad that he can do that. I hope he does do it. I don't know anybody that he's actually done it with. Oh God, where's it gone? God, too many photos on here, and that's the problem. Come on, Peter, where are you? Ah, there he is. So yeah, coming soon. Peter Folding filming another true crime documentary today. We'll keep you updated in due course. There you go. So does he mean now? Does he mean a documentary, a proper TV documentary? They called his interview that he did on YouTube with one of the YouTubers a documentary. It wasn't a documentary. It was a guy sat with towels up behind him, and Peter sat at home having a whiskey. And, you know, it wasn't a documentary, what you think of as a documentary. So I wonder what this is. Is this a proper documentary or is this just a YouTube video? Yeah, you know, it does like to make things sound better than they are. But we'll look out for that, won't we? Not really. I mean, I don't really care, to be honest, but it's of interest, I suppose. So, yeah, because of the commentary that was coming up on social media. So the family were not happy about Nicola's alcohol and menopause struggles being revealed to the public, with Paul saying Nicola would have been mortified about the information being shared. Yes, she would. And I remember listening to that and being absolutely fuming because I just felt, because at the time Nicola hadn't been found, nobody knew what had happened to her. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, if she hasn't deleted herself, once she sees she's all over the bloody news about with all her problems, she'll delete herself then because she'll be mortified, everybody knowing her private life. So Louise said, went mad again, didn't it, in the media? Well, of course it did. Nicola's family criticised parts of the press for what they described as absolutely appalling conduct. And the family's worst fears came true on the 19th of February, 3 weeks after Nicola's disappearance, when police were called to reports of a body in the River Wyre. So Rebecca Smith is in this. I'll be interested to see her. I feel for Rebecca Smith. I think she was, you know, especially after reading the College of Policing report, I think she was set up like a stooge. She tried her best, and I think she's been maligned, including me at the time, because we didn't have the full picture. So visibly upset, Detective Superintendent Smith tells the documentary about the moment Nicola was found and describes sitting in a police tent with her body for quite a long time until she was taken to hospital. I did think that Rebecca looked upset outside the tent that day. Reliving the moment the family was informed about Nicola's body being found, Louise says, "I'll never forget Dad coming into the kitchen, just like completely breaking down, and Paul being out in the garden in a complete state. I'll never forget the cries," says Nicola's dad Ernest, who describes hugging his son-in-law Paul as they tried to process the devastating news. Last year, a coroner recorded Miss Bulley's death as accidental, saying she'd fallen into the river and suffered cold water shock, and there was no evidence to suggest suicide. Police accused people on TikTok of playing private detective in the area and said they'd been inundated with false information, accusations and rumours relating to the case. It doesn't always have to be something sinister linked to something that happens, Louise says. Sometimes bad things just happen. I do agree with that. They do. Sometimes things do happen, you know, but I think the problem with Nicola's case is there's so many different anomalies. You know, if you had like one of the things that you think, oh, that's a bit strange, but it's just one thing after another with Nicola's case. That's the problem. I just wish it didn't happen to us. We're just a normal family. We've had a really tough time. And Paul says he still sees Nicola in the faces of the couple's two daughters. Of course, they'll be getting older, and when they get even older, they're going to look like... I've seen their photos. Obviously, I'm not going to show their photos. I'm sure you've seen their photos, but, well, he showed their photos on the GoFundMe, didn't he? But I feel like one looks more like Nicola and one looks more like Paul. I see her in the girls every single day. I see all those little mannerisms in them. And I'm like, that was mummy, you know, and that is worth everything, I think. But Nicola, he doesn't mention her name much. That's something that I have noticed with Paul. Rare that he mentions her name, isn't it? Let's just listen to the 911 call again.
It's emergency.
Oh, hello. My partner left this morning at 8:30 to take my two children to school, and the dog went with her because we take the dog for a walk.
Right. Okay.
I was getting concerned because she hadn't returned home by 9:30. She's usually back by 9:30, so I thought she must have got chatting to somebody. I've been trying to ring her since about 10:30. No reply. And then the school's just rung me to say that they've just found the dog. Somebody's found the dog, and my partner's put her phone down on a bench and the dog lead, and she's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. So there you go. That's where we are. So we'll see the full, I say next Thursday. We'll see the full episode, which, as I say, I will try my very best to record. But if not, I'll be taking notes and we'll go through it. And but one way or another, I'll try my best for us to watch it together, because that'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be good for us. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for keeping them polite, because I know some of you have different views, and you know we all have our views. But what I like about my channel is generally, if not, people don't last long, do they? But generally, people respect the fact other people have different views. They say their views without getting angry with anybody else. And you know, I'm not saying I don't know that Paul has got anything to do with whatever happened to Nicola. This part of me feels that no matter what, there was something going on there. Doesn't necessarily mean that Paul did anything to Nicola particularly. I don't know. So we see. And we see if the documentary on Thursday, the full documentary, they've just given us a little snippet. But it's you know, it was an interesting snippet, I think. So I hope it's not one of those things where in the trailer you're seeing the best of what's in there. Hopefully there'll be more things, more food for thought, things we can chew over. And, you know, they shouldn't be angry with us for being interested in what happened to Nicola, because people care about Nicola. it's nice to, you know, there's a lot of people with missing loved ones out there who nobody cares about. It never achieves any, you know, media scrutiny or media attention. They would love media attention. So really, it was good that there was media attention. But I agree, like the nastier side of it is not a good thing. But anyway, you can't have one without the other, can you? Either you want the attention or you don't. It's like, what can you do? Now, so we'll be back to talk about that. I've finished more or less what I'm going to say about Nicola. As I say, I've got this video now of Nicola Payne, which I think I'll probably put on tonight as a premiere, round about 9 o'clock Spanish time. And I just wanted to share something with you, which I've just found so intriguing about me, or about how life is. You know, when we're talking about the Jay Slater case and how scary it is for your child to go off, you know, they're still your child, even when they're 19. They might think that they're a big grown adult, but to you, they'll always be your baby, won't they? And of course, I've got a son, as you know. Now, he went through that stage of going out, you know, when he was about 19 through to early 20s, I suppose. And then they stop doing that then, and they stop going out so much. So really, then I started worrying he's not going out enough. You know, you just can't win. You just can't win. You worry about them no matter what they're doing. So first of all, he's going out too much. What's going on? You know, he's getting, you know, is he getting involved in fights? I'd be going to pick him up on the drop of a penny. You know, it'd be like 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Can you come and get me, etc. So I went through all that, the taxi thing, and then it sort of settled down, and then he's not really going out that much, or if he does go out, goes out locally, so, or he gets a bus or whatever, so I don't have to worry about being the taxi. And I'm still not having to worry about being a taxi now. But then I started worrying, he's not going out enough, really, should be going out more. So, of course, we've got fiestas on in my little village. And then what happens this week, his friend turns up from the UK, who's been his friend ever since he was a little boy. They went to school together, and then eventually he went back to the UK to live. But anyway, he's here for 6 days. So suddenly he's out all the time. So the very first night that he was out, and I'm sat here thinking, wonder what time he'll be back. Don't want to ring him because he's too old now to ring. You know, he's not like 16. You know, I can't be ringing up and saying, what time are you going to come home? But, you know, I'm thinking, I wonder what time is it? And then he just sent me a message. It reminded me of Jack O'Sullivan. Won't be long. I won't be long. I won't be out much longer. Then, of course, another hour goes by. He still hasn't come home. So I just went to bed and thought, when I wake up in the morning, if he's not there, then I'll start worrying. And, of course, I got up in the morning and he was in. I could see because his shoes were there. But I thought about Jack O'Sullivan's mum, and I just thought, how awful to wake up in the morning and he's not there. And you're like, well, should I be worried? He's a grown man, you know, Jack O'Sullivan. Is it Jack O'Sullivan or Jack Sullivan? He's 22, 23 years old. You know, you're thinking, you don't want to treat him like a baby, you know. So difficult. Anyway, of course, since then he's out all the time. So he's gone to the beach today. So he said, I'm going to the beach. Off he went with his friend. Then he phoned me, and while they were before they'd even got to the beach, just when they were actually, you know, near the beach, they decided to go for a Chinese for lunch before they went to the beach because they were hungry. And as they're in the Chinese, they hear all this bang, and they go out. Someone's banging. So his friend has rented a car while he's here. Some drunken couple, I think it was the woman that was driving, Spanish couple, banged into his car and another car, and there was a big accident out there. So they've had to ring the police, you know, get the insurance involved. Anyway, when I last spoke to him, they were just finishing that. You know, you won't stop young lads eating no matter what happens, will you? So they were having their Chinese. And I said, well, how are you going to get home then? He said, I don't know yet. Well, you know, we'll be fine. So I'm like, oh my God. I think I preferred it when he wasn't going out. So I was worrying when he's going out, worrying when he's not going out, worrying, they're just a worry. They're just a worry. So anyway, they're all okay. I mean, nobody was hurt, but I just thought, bloody hell, scary, isn't it? Women drivers, Nick. So then they've what have they done there? Oh, so the guy, so it's a man and a woman in this car. The woman was driving. The guy has asked my son's friend, will he say it was him, the guy driving, because she's not supposed to be driving. So whether she hasn't got a license or whatever, the guy was really drunk. This is at lunchtime. I mean, this was literally about 2-3 o'clock this afternoon. I thought, oh my God, better just not to go out the house, innit? Yeah, take care, Fortean. So yes, I will be doing more paranormal, but I tend to do those on the members' lives, Tom. So you have to think about becoming a member. You have to think about becoming a member. Every Tuesday night we have a live, and the other members, they like to do paranormal, but I don't tend to do it on the normal channel. That's true crime mainly that I do. But thank you anyway for your nice words. So Hannah, hi. Yes, Nick, he does. He says my 2 children a lot. Just going back up. Hi, Marcus. So yeah, probably missed quite a few. Oh, Heather, that's interesting. Tom likes Peter Folding. Well, there's no accounting for taste, Tom. Everybody's allowed their opinion on my channel. I'm only joking. Maybe you might not feel the same if you knew a bit more. So I'll see you later for the Nicola Payne. I'm going to do it, as I say, as a premiere, so you can still chat. It's quite a long video. It's 2 hours, but it's very interesting. There's quite a bit about Mark Williams Thomas in there. And Peter Folding pops up, of course. Listen, wherever Mark Williams Thomas is, Peter Folding is not far behind. They are brothers from another mother. They are, busy mates, aren't they? And they've spent a long time in tandem with cases. So it'd be interesting to see what case is going to come up with next. Yes, we haven't had a troll yet. Oh, there'll be some trolls after day. Probably here on the comments or whatever. All the trolls are probably out there just like, eh. But I'm sure they'll come out sooner or later. But yeah, not yet. But it's early. It's only 5:20. Okay, so take care, people. Thanks. There was a lot of you on here today. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for all coming. And, thank you for caring about Nick. And that's what we've never got to let go of. Whatever our different opinions might be, we all care about Nicola and her 2 girls. Whatever we think of Paul, don't think of Paul. Whatever we think about the police, don't think of the police. We all care about Nicola, so that's the main thing. So I'll see you really soon in the next video, which will be later tonight. It'll be 9 o'clock Spanish time. I'm gonna send out a notification in a minute, and we'll see the case of Nicola Payne, and that is a case got to be solved. And I'll tell you what, if Mark Williams Thomas can solve it, honestly, I'm glad. I've got nothing. If him or Peter Folding can do something to help this family, no one will be happier than me, I can assure you. So I'll see you soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you always. Let's put on my little goodbye video. Or don't forget to leave your fingerprint on the like button. And if you're not subscribed, please think about subscribing. Bye.